feet. Now, we seem to be grappling with such issues in Nigeria. Now, before we go into any other thing, I'd like you to just give us an assessment of the current democratic dispensation that we are into.
Well, somebody says that we don't really have democracy, but we have civilian governance, which gives me the impression that government of the people, by the people, for the people, is probably not exactly what we are having right now. There is a disconnect between the political elites and the people of Nigeria. Without singling out any particular government, you will see that from May 29, 1999 till today, it doesn't appear that the political elites know what they are doing, understand the issues. They're all the same, because those that you would think are the big shots in APC today came from PDP or GNPP or all those other ANPP, sorry, even APGA, all of them. They just keep changing. You could see just 2 or 3 days ago, a deputy governor of Edo State, who used to be in PDP, moved to APC, then moved back to APC yesterday. They just think about it. The Senate president used to be in PDP, now he's now APC. Everybody's just changing. So it's not, I think it's not really about the people. You remember the song by Michael Jackson, he said, all I want to say is that they don't really care about
us.
So it's about them. It's about, I think it was former Governor Donald Duke of Cross River State, who says there are no political parties in Nigeria. What you have is political platforms, and individuals just use it for their own purposes. And so that is what it's all about. Government of the people. I am not sure, with the various failures of INEC, serious failures of INEC, that decisions, who becomes governor, senator, or whatever, now ends up with the courts. So it appears there is a judiciary system that is actually appointing governors and legislators for us. Okay? So I don't see much of democracy in that. There's as far as I'm concerned, a confusion. The political elite do not seem to understand what they are about. If they would read chapter 2, fundamental objective principles,
the Constitution of the
you
1999
will
Constitution.
see that the ideology is already stated there, but everything they do is in the breach of what is in that place. All of them. And like I said, I'm not looking at any particular government. I'm looking at from 1999 till today. All of them, they do the same thing. Wasteful, Look at what is happening at the Dangote refinery. I understand. Well, okay, it was announced that the federal government, through NNPC, acquired 20%.
Yeah, that was then.
Yeah, with 2.7%. Apparently, they did not make full payment, and they were boasting that they had already invested. I understand, if it is true or not, that the payment is supposed to be partly in foreign exchange, which was made. You remember, Emefiele was boasting that, And then another part would have been a pledge of petroleum,
crude oil.
Yeah.
Crude oil.
Which is not coming as expected. Therefore, Dangote had to revise the shareholding of Nigeria from 20% to 7.2%. Why? One, because of oil bunkering. Nigeria is not even meeting OPEC quota, which means you can't have extra petroleum to use to pay Dangote, Then the second problem is that both the Buhari government and even the incumbent government have used future production of petroleum to pay for, to take loans. So whatever you have is dedicated to repaying the loans. And then the IOCs who are in your joint venture group with you, their own quota, they cannot give it to you. So I don't even see, you have not asked me, but it's the same thing.
Yeah,
I don't see how Dangote will get crude petroleum from
Yeah,
Nigeria.
because I remember that
But practically everything is
last
committed.
week or thereabout, he came public talking about some of these things,
Yeah.
and he was saying that there seemed to be connivance against him to
He's
ensure
not
that.
saying,
But,
there are some things he cannot say.
Yeah,
He won't be able to say.
But now, if all these things are happening, Nigerians, the masses, are bearing the brunt. How do we get out of this?
They are keeping, you see, knowledge is power. I dare say that the media is failing. Section 22 gives the media the responsibility, constitutional responsibility to hold government accountable. But I guess because of poverty and because of the wrong people running the media houses, who seem to be too careful about surviving, and then even people who run the place and the reporters and the rest of them who are looking for brown envelope, they are unable to, one, there's no funding to fund investigative journalism because it's very, very expensive venture. Okay. And then somebody who is not well paid, and then somebody just hands him a press release. All he does is just write his story from there and then move on, especially if they have handed over a brown envelope to him. He moves on, he's waiting for the next brown envelope and a press release or a press conference that you and I know is manufactured by PR people. Okay, so it's a huge problem. Even the press is unable to do its job. In a democracy, the press, you expect that the people will understand economics, politics, the intrigues, everything. Now, if they cannot, for several reasons, the press or the media is supposed to do this job for them. But you even have biased people in government, in the media. You have not well-informed people in the media. Who don't even understand what they are talking about.
I think I should just quickly ask you this before I will get on with what we're saying. Now, is it not a deliberate attempt not to give the media the desired attention or what it desires to project the society, because the role is to be a watchdog of the society, just like you said, and to also investigate and bring people to book, not to book, to expose them, let me put it that way. Now, it is a conspiracy, a direct attempt at not ensuring that things work. How do we change that system?
That's a tough call. How do we change that? It's a lot. I'm not even sure we can finish discussing that on this program because it's very involving. See, the incompetence of the ruling class, including the military ruling class, who actually came to collapse whatever gains the civilians in the First Republic had. They just came to destroy the whole thing. They brought in impunity. They brought in that language that they call settlement. The military president who started settling people and all that, they just collapsed everything. And their incompetence and their thievery also conspired to draw Nigeria to where it is right now. And then it has now, as you are insinuating, it has now become a weapon. When you weaponize poverty, the press is never going to be able to stand up to you. Especially, don't you see that media houses always come up with the man of the year to a governor that is apparently openly stealing the resources of his country?
He often
they will now say man of the year.
He often baffles me when you
because they are
see...
looking for money to pay their salaries, to pay their bills and the rest of them. So they are compromised. Okay, so each time I hear governor of the year or local government chair, I know that money has exchanged hands. So how does the media that is that compromised come up to criticize that same governor when he messes up. If the assessment was done on, shall we say, if it was done without bias, without inducement, anytime the man messes up, they will also be able to tell him.
Yeah, but yes, in as much as I may want to agree with you to some extent on what you have just said, but there are some governors that will still stick their neck out and do what they're elected to do.
Let's talk about the governor of Borno State, for example. I haven't been to Borno, but from what we hear, the man is doing his job. He's doing very, very well. Okay? There are a few others, but generally, people are wasteful, diverting money. I think the money that is being stolen at the state level is probably more than what they can steal at the federal. Yeah, I understand the budget, 52% of federation revenue goes to the federal government. I understand that. But the way the state governors just take money and spend it as if it's their money, you just know that, governance is just not, it's almost non-existent at the state level.
Okay. If you're saying that now, that brings me to what I would call the Supreme Court ruling on local government autonomy. Is that a pointer, or are there pointers that things might change and development will start coming right from the grassroots?
It's just a pointer. The Electoral Act actually empowers INEC to conduct election for local governments. But right now, it is the state SIA or something like that that is doing that. And the chairman and members of those state electoral commissions are appointed by the governor. And that tells you a lot,
we have to look at it from other angles too. If you say, yes, the governors appoint the chairman and the board members of state SIEC, what of at the national level too? Is still the government too that does appoint the INEC chairman?
No, I would prefer each local government chairman to be the one to constitute his own local government electoral commission to do it. So we will have 774. I mean, I'm sure you know about it. Cities in America, the mayors. It is not the federal government. It's not the state that sets up. It's the counties themselves. The cities themselves that set up their own electoral commission or system or whatever they want to call it. I don't see why we can't do the same here. Why should federal government be the one setting up electoral commission for even states to start with, and then why can't the local governments set up their own and be accountable, and then people can then face them at the local level. I saw something and it sounded funny, but I think it's a very serious thing. He said, our chairman, now that your money is coming to you directly, if we ask you to fix a road and we don't do it, don't worry, we won't go to any governor. We will deal with ourselves at the local level. And I think it is going to be possible to compel them to work, And even if the governor plays around with them, of course the money goes, and they now want to transfer money from the local government coffers to the governor. I'm sure it's not even going to happen. It's not going to happen because money makes you very, very independent. Once the money is in your, whatever, your own money or somebody else, once the money is in your hands, don't you know that when you are giving somebody money, you are saying thank you. The person that's receiving the money from you, money is very powerful.
On a lighter note, if you spend other people's money, you will pay for it. So, you will pay for it.
As the money is in your hands.
Yeah, but you will pay for it.
That's okay. The moment the money is in your hands, you are the boss. The man who gave you money, either a loan or whatever, until you return his money to him, you are still the boss.
So that means it's still going to happen in that way when we have,
no, the money is going to go directly to the local government chairman.
Directly to the local government.
The governors
chairman.
cannot talk to them.
Yeah, they can't talk to them, but all the same, wouldn't there be a kind of friction, power tussle? Because these are some of the things.
I want that power tussle. Let there be friction in the states. Let's free the local governments so that they can become more autonomous, able to deliver Then we now begin to revive some things. Why is it that the Constitution says states should create local governments? Why? Why can't the states have their own charter? Then why should we be expecting money from federation account anyway? You tweak the system in such a way that it is only the federation account that takes all the money and then is doling out money to, Look at it. The Port Authority is supposed to be the biggest revenue earner for Nigeria after crude oil. And it's in Lagos. And there are other ports in the south. And those other ports in the south, southeast, they are almost redundant. Are you saying they do not make money? All the money that is made in all the ports goes to somebody in what is called federation account. All the VAT money goes away to federation account. And then everybody is now struggling. Even the states that are lazy and don't want to do anything, that are not prepared to do anything, they are getting the lion's share. Have you seen what is coming to Bayelsa State from oil revenue compared to some states that are practically doing nothing? Do you understand? Bayelsa State is probably one of the poorest states in Nigeria, whereas it has oil fields. Why should that be? So I do not think we should. There's a lot of things that need to be changed. Why should money be taken from one part of Nigeria and take? Yes, we could go back to the old system. 50% remains with the state or whoever owns the resources, and then the remaining 50 goes to the federal level. They then go and be.
Okay, because time may not really be on our side, we need to start rounding up now. Can we really practice true federalism in Nigeria as operated in the United States of America?
I'm careful about that word, true federalism, because there are several definitions. But what I think is convenient for us is that, and I don't want to go into the argument of federalism, fiscal federalism, I don't want to go into all that. What we have right now is not working. It's just spreading poverty. You need a system that enshrines competition, like we had in the First Republic, when each local government was working hard. Why, for example, should a state government say, oh, Land Use Act supersedes tenement rate? So local government, they now tell you, they write you a letter, you and I have a property somewhere on the same street. They write you a letter and say, when they bring tenement rates, to disregard it and just pay the Land Use Act, which comes from the government. So if the state government can just offhand dismiss the revenue base of the local government, so what is the argument then that the federal government is taking oil money from the state and taking it to Abuja? And then let me tell you a very embarrassing thing. I used to work with the federal government agency, and I was based in Owerri, and we needed brooms. Guess what happened? So our headquarters used to be in Lagos. Somebody was dispatched from the headquarters in Lagos to go to the old Cross River State to go and buy brooms for all the offices in I think it was then 21 states. Okay? They brought the brooms from Cross River State, took it to Lagos, and then distributed it.
From Lagos to others?
Including Cross River State, where they bought it. Can you see how ridiculous this thing is?
That was then.
Yeah.
Maybe 20, 30 something, 40 something years back.
30 years ago or thereabout. So you can see how ridiculous this system that we are running.
But we ought to have learned from that over the years.
No, I'm using that to explain to you that, why wasn't it just decentralized? Go buy your broom. How much is broom? You now have to go and buy it from somebody.
Okay, yes, you've said quite a lot. We need to start rounding up. Now, with what is operating in Nigeria at present, how can we make that desired change, before we just sign off?
Well, some people don't like the word restructuring, but we need to look at the system. How can you, for example, we need to rewrite the Constitution. Think about this way. you write the names of 774 local governments into the Constitution. That makes it constitutional. And then the Constitution also now then says state governments can create local governments. Whereas there is federation account allocation to states or to local governments based on what is already in the Constitution. Do you understand? Don't you see there's some contradictions here? So we need to review the Constitution very seriously. All this piecemeal review that they are doing, I'm not very sure. We need to decentralize. Let more money go down to the local level. After all, they say that politics is local. I think economics is also local. Let's find a way to energize the energy, if you like,
Yes.
of the grassroots
Yes,
people.
I'm afraid that's the much we can take today on Talk Point. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Lekon Shote, for coming on Talk Point to discuss how we can further ensure better governance in Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being part of Talk Point.
Thank you very much.
Yes, on that note, we have come to the end of Talk Point. 767 and 112 still remains the lines to always call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble. Be part of those that will be patriotic to ensure a better Nigeria. I am Omodolu Rousseau. I'll see you some other time.